and you got the products, the great products that you have. And then you got the greatest sales team in the world. Do you want to know who it is, the great sales team in the world? Look left and right from you. This is the best sales team in the world. A visionary, the greatest visionary, the best products, and the best sales team. What could be going wrong there, please? I mean, it is not a crisis or a tough situation, is not on the outside. And this is why we couldn't see it when we looked at that earth ball. It is on the inside. You know what? The question is not, is there something called a crisis or not? The only question is, do I make it my crisis or not? A crisis and tough times are never tough times unless you make it tough times. And everyone can, there's a saying actually, the Portuguese say that, everyone can guide a boat when there's sunshine. But when it gets tough, then you need a strong captain, then you need the right team, then you need the right boat. And that is exactly, I mean, look at Switzerland. We saw quite a few people from Switzerland. Do you know Switzerland, if you look at the map, how many kilometers they have to travel to come to the next sea border? They are not even close to any big sea. And nevertheless, a Swiss team won the America's Cup, the greatest sail race in the world. So the Swiss people became the greatest sailing nation in the world without even having an ocean next. Well, if that is possible, what else is possible? And a crisis has a lot of advantages to it. It has a lot of advantages because, as we heard, the survival of the fittest, there will be room. Of course, in a tough situation, there will be people who disappear, like the little cozy dinosaur we saw, and there will be other people that have more room. If we wouldn't have had the room to develop as human beings, all of us wouldn't be here today, because our ancestors would have been eaten up. So, good that they disappeared. Because there will be people disappearing, and I don't mean literally people, I mean companies that are not as good. And that is, for me, the survival of the fittest. It is the fairest thing in the world. It means that the company who has the best products, who has the best team and the best visionary, will take over market shares from other companies. This is what's going to happen in this year, and maybe in the next year and in the years to come. So there's nothing to fear. And we can talk to people that we weren't able to talk about before. People that said no when you spoke to them about a second income. People that said no to you when you spoke to them about direct sales. All of a sudden, half a year later, they will listen to you. A lot of people that might have been working in the banking sector half a year ago, you talked to them about direct sales, they said, I don't need direct sales, I'm in the banking sector. Talk to the same people today again and let them know what you do. You know the answer is going to be different. In a crisis, there is things that need to be done. And these things that need to be done, we're taking a closer look at. But let me ask you a couple more questions. Maybe if you're not believing me 100%. Let me ask you, who of you stopped cooking and taking care of the family in the last couple of months? So don't ever tell anyone there's no demand for these devices. Who of you actually stopped cleaning the house just because the news says we have a crisis? Nobody. So there is a market for these kind of devices. Who of you stopped washing in the last couple of weeks and months because you think there might be a crisis? Nobody does. So there is a need for cosmetics. And who of you, and we heard it here on stage, what we can do with these products, who of you stopped thinking about health? I believe nobody, because it is the real values that matter, especially in these times. And even when the times it goes tough, these things don't change. It's the right products positioned at the right moment with the right people. And now, what are the strategies to win in those times, to take maximum advantage? If you think it will be tougher to sell, it will be tougher to sell. If you will not, then it will all stay the same as it was before. And this is why I say strategy number one for me in these times is Just don't listen to anyone. Don't listen to TV. Switch off the TV set. You know what? The time you're spending in front of the TV, you can spend it much better selling products. Go on the internet to check your emails, but don't go for the news. Don't read any newspapers, and don't listen to any neighbors, because they have no interest in telling you good things. Not only in the newspapers, everywhere. Good news don't sell. It's only the bad ones. And then, to show you that this is worth thinking about, I don't know if you know this gentleman. He certainly is not a model for viewing glasses, but he is considered the richest man of the world. He is Warren Buffett, and that's his net value that I've written there. And Warren Buffett, and I quote it, has said one thing: "I am not worried because I learned one thing in my life, not to listen to bad news. When other people talk about bad news, I make the most money." Well, if he is worth that amount of money, there's certainly something right in this strategy for him. It's about, in these times, it's about becoming a strong leader. The people that are frightened might be, yes, and they're looking for values. They're looking for strong people, for people who give them faith, for people who give them an opportunity, for people who show them that what all the other ones say is not true, that there is people that are a positive example. See, by becoming a positive example and by sharing positive news with other people, you know what's going to happen? You will draw attention to you. Whatever you do different, then all the others will draw attention to you. So let's do one thing different. Let's talk about positive things. Let's talk about the good things. Do you know that in car race, and those of you that might have looked at car racing already, that often it is more important how fast you are in the last training than in the actual race? You know why? Because this defines where you start, where you're positioned. And when you're positioned in number 25, it is much harder to win the race than if you're positioned in number 1. And I'm not saying this is easy. I'm not saying that this is going to be an easy thing to do. This is going to be hard work, no question. We heard this morning, and you know what is happening when it's hard work? There's only one thing you need to do when it's hard work. Being a leader is not about wearing a suit and a tie. When it's hard work, it's about rolling up your sleeves. It's about getting the things done that need to be done. It's about what Mr. Sokolyak said. It's about the 3 most important things in this business. It's about recruiting, recruiting, and recruiting. And as I said, when the Portuguese say that everybody can sail in the sunshine, but in tough times you need a great captain, then you know you are in the right place. And we got the greatest team of sailors that will bring this ship not only through this time, but through all the times of the world. And don't forget, do what he said, and don't do it as you did it before. This is the most important rule in tough times. Don't set back. It's not about being the rabbit in front of the snake. You know what a rabbit does? It doesn't move because he thinks, oh my God, the snake's not going to see me. That works with snakes. It works not with the world. If you sit there thinking nobody sees you, then you will still be sitting there a couple of years from now when all the other ones are already gone to run the race. So don't forget, the most important thing in these times is work 2 and 3 times as hard as before. Recruit, 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 and make sure you get one of these cars. Thank you. Thank you all.